It is time for our September reading wrap-up. It was a pretty good month. I read a total of 8 books, at least 3 of which were on audio. September was such an interesting reading month. We have a mix of, me trying to finish up my summer reads before it's not summer at all, and like being really excited to start on the fall cozy, like gothic reads. Not that I pay like too much attention to the season when I'm reading, but I do like to read the summer books when it's warm out, and at least some spooky fall books in the fall and when it's cold in general. But we definitely saw a mix of that this month. The first book I read was Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This was a highly anticipated book for me. Love Abby Jimenez. I really liked her Part of Your World series, specifically Part of Your World. My introduction to her, I loved it. One thing I love about Abby Jimenez is that all of her books include dogs and like furry animals, which this was not an exception. In it we follow Samantha, who runs a mustard company's social media, which I absolutely loved, and it comes in a few times throughout the book in really great ways, just how strongly she is for this mustard. But we follow Samantha, and then Xavier, who owns his own veterinary practice. He just put a bunch of money into starting this practice, and he spends like all of his time and all of his heart in it. It's definitely a very heartwarming romance, but not fully lighthearted. There's a lot of like very like deep moments. I mean, her mom is struggling with dementia, so there's a lot of problems and like conflict that she has like within her family, just like all the hardships caring for her mother and loving her mother. And then there's of course also a lot of hardships in the relationship during this stressful time for her, and because of their long distance, and neither of them are like rich, so seeing each other over this long distance isn't easy on their wallets. And they're both very busy, so yeah, a lot of struggles in their relationship as well. I just thought it was really well done overall. I really liked the relationship, and I liked that we saw deeper, more intense like moments and struggles. Yeah, solid book overall. Gave it 4 stars. As with like all of Abby Jimenez books, I did enjoy. I still remember Part of Your World very fondly, but I think I'll need to reread it to really be able to do my ranking of her books. So next I read Don't Let Me Go by Kelsey Ray. This was more of just I want something that I can read very casually and not really care. And it was coming up on ads on Instagram, and it looked fun in like a very lighthearted, it's not that serious kind of way. And it was not that serious. And I knew going into it wasn't going to be like, a work of literature, serious literature or anything. And it wasn't. And I really didn't like a lot of the characters. It was not very good. I gave it 2 stars overall. But basically we're following I don't know. It was fun. It just, a lot of it annoyed me, and I didn't think it was very good. But it was fun. So it wasn't like the worst book I've read. I don't even think the writing was like all that bad. The characters were really annoying. There's some very like cringy, like cliche in a way, like the characters and dialogue was at some points. Like I'm pretty sure at one point she said like, I'm not like other girls. And I was like, why? How are you saying that seriously right now? So yeah, things like that. Like your classic not serious romance. He's a hockey player and her brother's best friend, and she's interning as an assistant for the season, following her dreams. I forget exactly what it is. Something to do with sports. And as being an assistant on the team, she has to hang out in the locker room a lot while all the guys are like showering and changing and stuff. And she has to like pretend like that's completely fine. And add to it, of course, you know, the brother's best friend that, you know, she's had a crush on forever. And also she's a virgin, and that gets leaked to the team, I guess, and they make a bet on like who can be her first. Which was very problematic. Yeah. As you can imagine, problems ensue. Definitely didn't need to read it, but you know, sometimes I was on a plane. You can't always be too serious on a plane. And the books I was listening to at this time were Cytonic and Evershore. So we had 2 audiobooks there. In the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson. I really like the series. Can't really say too much about the plot, but basically in Cytonic you follow Spensa, or Spin, and she's on her own little journey by herself somewhere. It was pretty good. I really liked that book in the series. I thought it was a good book in the series. I knew it was coming because I think the book before we followed a different character, and I was just eagerly awaiting this storyline. And then in Evershore, we follow Jorgen, or better known as Jerkface, and yeah, they have some battles in their spaceships. It's very good. That one was also very fun. Yeah, I can't really say much more than that. But yeah, I feel like it's a pretty solid series. Like 4 stars, 4.25 maybe. I feel like it deserves a little more than 4. So 4.25. But I just haven't been wanting to give any books 5 stars. I just very anti giving books 5 stars, I feel like sometimes. So next I read a physical book for once. A Treachery of Swans by A.B. Pornick. This one was fine. Disappointed me a little bit, honestly. But essentially we follow, so we have Odile here in black. As you can tell, she's kind of like a evil main character. She's supposed to be like the bad guy, but we follow her. I honestly like never really saw her as being a bad guy. Like, I get like her storyline is supposed to be like evil, like she's trying to kind of like overthrow the kingdom, but she just kind of seemed nice, or like, you know, like a little tortured child the whole time. So maybe it would have been better if I believed that she was bad. But yeah, we follow her trying to overthrow the kingdom, and you know, she's like kind of like a magician, magic user, sorcerer is the word they use, sorcerer. Yeah, and then Marie, who is kind of like the swan princess. Odile is trying to restore magic / overthrow the kingdom, and she impersonates this princess, Marie, while she does that. And honestly, I mean, if you like gothic, I feel like the gothic vibes are definitely there. So if you're into that, I think definitely pick it up. I mean, it wasn't bad. I wasn't really feeling it. It was fine. There is a bit of a romance between them, but it doesn't really, like, they don't really interact at all until 25% of the way through the book. So I feel like the romance is very much not a main part in the story. It really felt like on the back burner. The main part is really more so like who killed the king. And I feel like we all know the whole time who's responsible. It's pretty obvious, if I'm being honest. And then the ending was weird. It gave off the impression that there was going to be a second book, and we were going to follow this like whole other plotline in the second book, and then it like ended in like 3 pages. Not because that plotline didn't require like years of effort on the characters' parts, but like we just skip it. Like she just goes on this entire journey and then we don't hear anything about it. Maybe there will be another book and she'll go into detail on that, and that was just kind of a way to include that story and wrap it up without committing to there being another book. That was very like, yeah, you know, sudden, very sudden, happy ending. Anyways, yeah, like 3.5, 3 stars, 3 stars overall. Wait, and then I read on my Kobo How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. This was fun. It was a fun, cozy little mystery. It reminded me, like the premise at least, reminded me of the Inheritance games because they're both kind of trying to win this game in order to win the inheritance. Of course, in the Inheritance game, it's more like he put on this challenge for them, like this mystery to solve. And in this book, it's like she knew she was gonna be murdered because of this fortune she got like when she was a teenager, and she held on to that for like 70 years or something. And yeah, for so long that she put it in her will, and her grandchildren, great niece and other people solved her murder for her. Yeah, of course she didn't know that she was murdered for sure until she was dead. So it's an interesting premise, but I thought it was a fun little murder mystery. I definitely didn't know how it was going to end for like most of the book. I think, but the ending does make sense. And though I did know one part of the ending, I didn't know it. I guessed. I like had a suspicion, and it ended up being right. But yeah, I liked it. 4 stars overall. Okay, next we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I've been wanting to read for a very long time. But I just read Atmosphere over the summer. Absolutely love that. So I figured what better time to read Malibu Rising than right before the summer ends. If you don't know, Malibu Rising is basically about so many dogs. So basically Malibu Rising follows this family. We have 4 siblings who are the kids of the super famous singer Mick Riva. And you follow 2 timelines. One is this 24-hour period leading up to encompassing this massive party, like biggest party of the year, of the decade. And then in the past we follow like the past 30 years or so of their parents meeting, their romance, having their kids, what led up to the present day, essentially. You get a decent amount of information in each of their lives. I feel like you really understand a lot of each character, even with like just a chapter of their story. And there are so many characters in this book. Towards the end, you get the perspective of like a bunch of different characters at the party. Even though you only see them for a short period of time, I feel like you get to know so much about them, which is just a testament to how great of a writer Taylor Jenkins Reid is. It starts with the idea that, in Malibu, there's fires all the time. And it's like, we're going to tell you the story of the night of one of the fires at this party. So you're kind of waiting the whole time to see like how this fire starts. And obviously the cause is this giant ass party. I was like really confused at first, like why are we talking about this house burned down? Like why is this kind of like how we're like starting the story and like forming this story? In the end, the idea of like this giant fire being started, I think it was a great like summation to the story, honestly. It was good. I really enjoyed it. Overall, I gave this one like 4.5 stars. It was really close to being a 5-star read. I think it had all the elements of a 5-star read, honestly. Like the writing, amazing. The characters, amazing. Like I feel like we got really deep with each of them. We understood their personalities and their conflicts and their full character arc as much as you can get, the majority of their arc being in like that 24-hour period. We got a lot of information, and even the side characters, I feel like we got a pretty good storyline and understanding of them. Great writing, great story, great characters. I just didn't feel like giving it 5 stars. I really don't know what to tell you. It's a feeling, and my feeling is I never want to give books 5 stars. I did give Atmosphere 5 stars though, because I guess that had all the same elements, great writing, great characters, great plot, and I just really liked it. I also read it all like in one plane ride, which really added to the reading experience. Atmosphere being like kind of about like riding or taking like a spaceship, being astronauts and such, and there's a lot of flying elements in that, so maybe just the setting added to it. But I don't know, I think Malibu Rising is definitely like a 5-star book, but I gave it 4.5. But yeah, you should definitely read it. Next, I read Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Bradley. I heard really great things about this book, and that's why I picked it up. I mean, it's like a science fiction book where we have a time machine, essentially, or like a time portal, and we have people in England. We have this like government kind of organization called the Ministry in England who brought a bunch of people from the past to present day. They took people who were like about to die anyways, so like they weren't interfering with like the future or, you know, events, minimizing suspicion because these are people who like nobody knew what happened to. They just kind of disappeared, which, I mean, obviously they were taken into a time portal. But yeah, you follow these guys, and in the Ministry they have these characters, one of which we're following, and they guide these expats in time through the present day and like help them get adjusted. And honestly, that really sums up the whole book. That was like the majority of what happened. Like, you're just watching these guys live their lives, you know, expats from the past and these, you know, worker bees at the Ministry helping them get adjusted. That was what happened. You just get like a lot of little stories of their life is what it feels like for the majority of the book. I think 25% of the way through we started to get introduced to like underneath all that storyline, but at the same time like the main point of the story, like more of the suspense started coming in, which I was really excited about, and I was like waiting for it to pick up. And I feel like it took a while to pick up. And then I feel like there really wasn't much of it. It fell a little flat in terms of like excitement. I think it was definitely a really interesting book. There were a lot of really good like quotes, and I liked the writing, and it was very like it was just pretty writing a lot of the times. I don't know. I feel like it's a good book to like think on. Yeah. Like if you really want to dive deep into it, I think it's really interesting. I think there's a lot of elements to really pick apart in it. But in terms of a story that like really drives you forward and is exciting, I feel like that was kind of lacking. So I'm not really sure about my rating. Maybe like 3.5, but I'm gonna round up to a 4 on Goodreads. So like 3.5, 4 stars. I love good writing. Like if the writing is good, the writing style, then I want to give it a good rating because I appreciate good writing. It was interesting but not captivating. So take that as you will. And then the last book I read via audio was Delicate Condition by Danielle Valentine. This was definitely an interesting book. More of a thriller horror, honestly. A lot of horrifying elements. I think if I was reading it physically, it would be a lot more horrifying. I've been really bad with audiobooks lately. I'm considering reading them less because I just haven't been paying enough attention. I do feel like I got all of the scenes in this book at the very least. May have missed some sentences here and there, but I think it was really interesting. You know, when I like a book, I'm very compelled to like go on Reddit and like see what people are saying about it. So I did a lot of that. And there's an episode in American Horror Story that I guess it's kind of based off of, but with a little more of a feminist twist to it, which honestly was pretty fun. I haven't watched much of American Horror Story. I definitely haven't watched that episode. Well, it's basically Rosemary's Baby, if you're familiar with that, which I'm not. But it's Rosemary's Baby, but more feminist version, according to the people of Reddit. Basically, you follow Anna Elcott, who is a rising star, and I don't know, at the very beginning of like her career really taking off is when she really became focused on like having a baby and starting her like IVF journey. So you follow her through like IVF and trying to have a baby, and she does get pregnant, but something is a little off with her pregnancy. Like things start happening, she starts having hallucinations, something is wrong with her baby or just with the pregnancy, and she feels like somebody's trying to like kill her baby, I guess, like end her pregnancy. She's just getting like threats. A lot of things are happening and everybody's making her feel like she's going crazy, and she feels like she's going crazy. Her husband basically tells her she's crazy and her doctor tells her she's crazy. So I think it's a very good gradual progression of people telling her she's crazy to her realizing like maybe she is kind of going crazy to, I mean, I think throughout the whole book they're really trying to figure out like who is like stalking her, messing with her baby, doing these things. And she like, towards the end, she's like suspecting a lot of different people that she's encountered and that you've kind of met in the book. It's very interesting how it all comes together, and the epilogue is also very fun. I feel like it was kind of like a different vibe than the normal, like the usual thriller horror books that I read. Like there's definitely like things off with her pregnancy, and there was definitely like horrific things going on. But because of like the other storylines, we got like a few other storylines in it, like just short chapters. Because of those, I don't know. Like there always felt like there was like something off. Like obviously there's something we don't know, which changed how I was experiencing it, I guess. I feel like it didn't feel quite as thrilling as a normal thriller, but it was pretty horrific. If that makes sense. I mean, I think it does. I think it was an interesting concept, and I liked how it came together. So I give it 4 stars overall. I think it was pretty solid, good. I had fun. It wasn't my favorite thriller, but I do think it was very well done. And that was it. That was my last book. With that, summer is officially over and fall has begun. I mean, we're like a few days in, and September is also kind of fall, but we are like fully 100% in fall now. Yeah, I read some pretty good books. Almost done the Skyward series. I just have one more book to read. I took a little bit of a break. I don't really know why, but I might finish it in October. We'll see. Pretty solid month overall. No 5-star reads, but like we got close. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.